Hello everyone and welcome back to the park. There were some unexpected ride issues which led to frequent closures, and I do apologize for that. No, in actuality I had just some stuff going on, and stuff happens. Anyways, so this is the first start of a series of videos that are pretty much just paintings of Pokemon. I've probably mentioned it before, but I've been playing Pokemon games pretty much since I could read, or have any autonomy in what I would be playing or not. And for the most part, they are basically the only video games that I play, just for time reasons, which I'd recently realized why. 7 hours straight unplanned, playing Breath of the Wild, which we finally own now. It's the reason we didn't own it, and it's not because we wouldn't like it, just saying. Anyways, so how this is going to go is I'm going to open a pack of Pokemon cards and paint or do some form of full illustration of the cards within. Sorry for that weird moment of just kind of looming on the Carbonable. I'm assuming that's from Sun and Moon or the Alola region, and I just didn't get into those games as much as the other ones, so I never really finished Moon and never played Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon. But anyway, so the first Pokemon here is Galarian Yamask, which was kind of fun to do. At first I was really confused and kind of disappointed, and really tried to just kind of fall into doing like a full line art and working from there. Some people do absolutely gorgeous Pokemon, where they will go through and do hyper realistic, or they'll take inspiration from real life animals and kind of do like variants of them. I'm not that great at that. For the most part, I'm sure if you've been here for a while, you've noticed I tend to have kind of a set amount of things that I draw, and I will occasionally venture out, but I go back to my comfort zone fairly quickly. So this is twofold, the series. One is to work on getting me a little bit out of my comfort zone and work towards, doing stuff that maybe I didn't entirely want to do or wouldn't have thought about, painting or drawing or whatever I end up using for the illustration. And also just kind of getting me a little bit more comfortable drawing other things, like monsters, that sort of thing. And Pokemon's really good for that just because there are so many of them, and some of the regions have different kind of design styles. So, it'll be really fun to work through that framework and kind of force myself to do something a little bit different. Yamask was especially interesting because I knew I didn't want to copy the cards directly and just do like a redraw or go straight from the character model. But in the end, it's a lot of very simple shapes. It's kind of like a little moon sort of thing with noodle arms and a rock. So the challenge here was twofold. One was it is very simple shapes that I probably wouldn't, I'm not normally going to be using, and also differentiating said very simple shapes from, again, the illustration and the actual game footage. So what I did was, after figuring out the kind of layout I wanted to do, I decided to make like the little bulge in front that looks kind of like a beak, almost like a big nose, just add a little bit more character, and then wanted to keep the background simple but not like a straight color. That was the other thing, is these are going to be full on like illustrations as opposed to just like a sticker design or something like that. It'll be a full piece. And there were a few different ways to go with that for our little spirit buddy. And in the end, what I decided to go with was the area that it evolves in Sword and Shield. You have to be under a certain rock, possibly during a certain time of day. It's been a minute to get them to evolve, so I decided to just kind of go with the feel of that place. I sketched in my normal default rocks and then decided they were a little more complicated, and then left out any kind of undersketch for the background and just kind of went with vibes, really. and worked from there. I started just blocking in the basic colors and just kind of letting them flow together some, overlapping them just to add more texture, and then added more layers on top of that to apply, just really pull out texture and differentiate them from that. I also had a bit of a problem with the rocks. I ended up getting them to a place where I liked, but initially I went in with a very sandstone color, and I really wish I'd done some proper underlaying instead. But again, Yamask itself is such a simple design that I didn't want to overcomplicate it, and the rest of the piece kind of went along the same lines. As you can see, I did, I would let a part dry and then move on to a different part and jump around. Kind of if I was using one color somewhere and I needed it somewhere else, go with that. So, the blue for the initial shading pass was also the blue used to add kind of like clouds to the very back. The red that was used to sketch in more rocks to add a little bit more depth and a little bit more texture, also used to shade the larger rocks. Just kind of jumped around to whatever was dry to add in more texture and to pull things out a little bit more to define them some, and worked a lot like that. And I feel like I should mention the overall goal that's going on right now. So this video is the first of 2 weeks of video I will be posting every Saturday and Tuesday for the next 2 to 4 weeks. I have a backlog of videos ready, and they're edited, but they don't have a voiceover just because I haven't felt like talking enough, and I wanted to get the proper amount of videos built up for 2 weeks, and then about another one afterwards. Figured I would post, at the same time, 2 days a week for a set amount of time just to see if I could get the algorithm to like me. And the initial plan was for a full month, but I may go to just the 4 videos and then go back to weekly posting, hopefully, because I've had some job interviews, so it kind of depends on how the response from those that I am currently waiting on. But that is the plan. There will be at least, for the next 3 weeks, there will be 2 videos a week. It may go on after that. We will see what's going on. And here is, I think, probably my favorite part of the whole process, which was adding in the trees just over top of everything in a dark reddish brown, which really, I think, kind of helped add depth and really made the piece look cohesive. Before it was a lot of open washes of color with a little bit more put in there, but until the trees went in, it didn't really have any depth to it. It was just overall very flat. And once the trees went in, it really closed it in a little bit and made it a little bit better. Also for these, I'm using a specific watercolor palette just because I also wanted to work on actual color mixing as opposed to just, going through my giant container of colors and making, picking out the closest approximation, which I could get pretty close to. So I kind of have to work for this one. The black is mixed from about 4 different colors, that sort of thing. If I need another color, I have to really work towards it as opposed to just grabbing, straight black, which I think helps add depth and color cohesion a little bit. There was signing, because I forgot to do that during the line art stage, and of course, the final stage to any and all paintings, which is, of course, the white watercolor pen just going anywhere and everywhere it could be useful. So in this case, that was adding on, texture to the trees, redefining the edges of the rocks, adding defined edges to the smaller rocks, changing the grass, adding in little clouds, all that good stuff. And here it is plopped onto card. So yeah, thank you for visiting the park today. I hope you enjoyed your stay, and I will see you next week.